Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Naomi and I have a special guest with me today.
Oh yeah, I thought you were going to intro me. Hey guys, my name is David and I am Naomi's husband, lover, friend, baby daddy, and other stuff I can't say on YouTube.
Wow.
Oh.
But today we are doing 5 things that we learned in marriage so far. We actually got married in 2018.
March 31st, which means that we're actually approaching our 5-year anniversary.
Yes.
In 2 months.
In 2 months.
1 week. I was telling someone it's been 5 years and no one believes me.
I don't even believe that it's been 5 years.
It feels super long, but super short at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense that it's been 5 years, but it feels like 5 minutes, but I feel like we've been married forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's such a really weird dynamic. All in a good way, but just like, yeah, it's crazy. So 5 years, yeah. Can we put like a little sound effect? 5 years of marriage.
5 years of marriage. Yeah. We got married when I was 23 and David was 24. So we got married in our 20s.
Yeah.
And
I had just graduated university.
You had just graduated.
Well, I had just finished my last class 3 months before we got married.
Yeah. So married in our 20s. And it was fun. It was really, really fun. But we learned a lot. There were obviously many obstacles, challenges, great times, and even better times to come.
Amen.
But we have learned a lot. And I'm sure like we don't know everything because it's only been 5 years. But we're going to share with you guys some things that we learned in our 5 years of marriage. So let's get right into this video.
Point number 1 is put God first in everything. And I know it sounds super simple and like obviously like you should do that, but it's actually easier said than done. And that for us meant like praying together, doing our daily devotional together, and really pushing one another to actually get closer to God.
Yeah, so like being super intentional about everything. Everybody says put God first in your marriage, but do we actually do that daily? Do you wake up every morning and pray with your spouse? And even besides that, do we pray for our spouses? Do we consistently pray for that person? I know whenever David has like business stuff or ministry stuff or whatever it may be, I'll always make it a point to pray about it. I'll always make it a point to add it to my prayer points because I want to be intentional about what he is intentional about.
Yeah.
I make it a point to come to God about my husband and the things that he's concerned about.
You know, just to add to what you're saying, Naomi, because this is so good. I think a lot of times, like especially as Christians, like when we have like a big thing happening in our lives, we often turn to like our pastors and whoever is like the prophetic voice in our lives for advice. But logically speaking, God gave me Naomi for him to speak through her primarily. So I should be hearing from God besides just my own relationship with God, right? Like God gave me Naomi as my wife, right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to other people, but I'm saying like really be intentional to be the prophetic voice in your spouse's life, to really be that helper that God has called you to be.
Yeah, so don't ignore the voice of God through your helper, basically. Because
100%.
sometimes you can be like, sometimes your helper can actually be giving you a prophetic word, but you have to go get a confirmation from a man of God or a woman of God.
The bishop. The archbishop of...
Which again, is not bad to consult your pastors or your friends, but just also consider and be confident in what God is saying through your spouse. Now to point number 2, commit to getting to know one another in every season. Now this is important because if I was gonna stick to knowing the David from 2016, we would not be here right now.
Yeah.
Because we met in 2016.
Yeah.
And even if I was only known the David in 2018 when we got married, then it will be kind of weird. Yeah,
because like we evolve as people, right? And so committing to getting to know Naomi from 2016, 2017, 2018. We've known each other for a long time. Jeez.
For a long time.
2019, 2020.
Can't even do all that.
2021, 2022, and 2023. She has obviously evolved. Like we're all human beings and we should be evolving and changing. And life just happens, right?
Yeah.
And so I have to get to know Naomi today, how she is, to best be able to help her and be the husband that God has called me to be in her life, right? And vice versa. And so like, and I think sometimes we can get lazy. Like I think I know everything about Naomi because it's been 2 years or 3 years. Or no, I actually don't. Like I wake up every day thinking, I know nothing about this woman. Let me show the same intentionality that I did in 2016 when I just met her, right? And then now I become curious about my spouse and like I'm intentional to get to know her, to know what she likes and what she doesn't like, and etc.
Yeah, and I think that also helps with like always dating your spouse, like dating in marriage, because like you have like this curiosity to know who that person is. And I love that David does that because my favorite color changes like every year.
When I met her, favorite color was purple. Now we don't know.
We're not really sure. So even something as simple as that can change on a year-to-year basis. So you can only imagine how my desires might shift, or my interests might shift, or something I want to do. Something about me might just evolve from year to year. And it's important that David is consistently dating me or getting to know me, or I'm dating him and getting to know him, because David, he changes every year. Every month, actually.
We go from glory to glory.
We go from glory to glory.
As we report Zion.
Yes. And I think that just even reflects in also like your work.
Yeah.
Like you have so many ideas and you have so many like, you know, aspirations, and we see that in what you do. Like you'll have a bunch of business ideas. That's even how he is on a daily basis. He has a bunch of ideas, and I'm just here trying to catch up.
She does a good job. Point number 3 is that we have to understand what it means to be a helper. You know, a lot of times, like when we think about like marriage and relationship, like we think that it's all about love, which there's a lot of love in the relationship, and that's good. But I believe that love is an action, but purpose is a calling. So when God gave me Naomi, run that back. Let me say that again.
Well, that's it.
So I believe that love is an action. So you choose to love someone daily, but purpose is a calling. So I was called to do what I'm doing right now before I ever met Naomi, before I was ever born, according to what God says in Jeremiah. Same with Naomi. So when God brought us together, it was for the purpose of fulfilling that call and that purpose, right? And so if we only focus on lovey-dovey stuff, like it's just not going to be fruitful. Like, we'll go on dates and we'll take pictures and Instagram and TikTok and oh my gosh, it's so amazing, the trends. However, you might not actually fulfill your calling or your purpose. And that's why it's so important to understand what it means to be a helper. Because I'm more focused on helping Naomi get to that place where she fulfills her purpose and her calling than my own happiness, for example, and vice versa.
Wow. Thank you. That is a big one that I had to go through at the beginning of our marriage, because I feel like, you know, when you're on this whole independent woman thing, like you're always about me.
Shout out to my independent woman.
But in marriage, you kind of gotta like, I'm not saying don't be independent, but I'm saying that how be selfless to the point where you could actually just, you know, lay yourself down for that person. Lay your desires down for that person. Marriage is literally dying to yourself for that person. And if you try to bring that I'm an independent woman, I can do it myself, you should do it by yourself attitude in the marriage, it will not necessarily work out that well.
It's not gonna pop. And that's so good. I completely agree about the point about like inherent in being a helper is someone who's selfless. Like you just said, you have to die to yourself in order to be able to serve someone else.
Exactly. Serving someone else.
It's not easy. Like it's actually not easy. Like
how would you say like how did you get to a point where you can serve me willingly?
I think generally speaking, I like serving, and I thought because I liked serving, that meant that I wasn't selfish. But then when you get into marriage, you basically realize that you're very selfish, right? Because you've never been in an environment where you have to die to yourself continually. Like you going to church on a Sunday and serving, bro, that's easy. You know what I mean? It's like 2 hours. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, this girl's so perfect, this guy's so perfect. When you get to the point of putting the desire of someone else before yourself, that's what I think is inherent in serving. And for me, I had to really look to Jesus, basically. Like look in the Bible and be like, hey, how was he serving? Like he came down from heaven to earth, fully God, fully man, and he just served people. Like he could have done so many things that he wanted to do, but he always said one thing: I'm only here to do the will of my Father. And that also leads back to our whole point about like purpose. His purpose was to do the will of the Father. And so I don't do it all the time, but I try to have that same mindset where like my purpose, amongst other things, is to help Naomi achieve her purpose. However that looks, I'm gonna like it all the time. It might hurt, it will definitely cost me. But that's what Jesus did.
And I like how you said that how serving at church is much different than serving in a marriage, because in a marriage, no one else is seeing what you're doing. It's just you and that spouse. So I feel like a lot of your insecurities, your fears, all of that can come out on the table, whereas people that you see on an everyday basis might not know those things. But now you're having to like put those things aside or deal with those things actually in order to serve the person that you're now agreeing to be in covenant with. And
can I say something real quick? I know we have to move on to the next point, but like I thought I knew Naomi when we got married, but I didn't. And vice versa. And just to your point about like serving at church, like when you're serving in public, whether it's your job, church, ministry, you're always going to show your best self. But you actually, like the whole purpose of marriage, or one of the purpose of marriage, is to destroy that. Right? So you actually can't keep up 24/7 that perfect, like, you know, that perfect attitude. You never like get mad. You're always like, oh my gosh, I'm happy to be here. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? And so it just completely destroys that. Where it's like you were saying, like you learn to be vulnerable and open and like have someone accept your insecurities, your weaknesses, all these things, and yet still draw to each other and go closer, right? So it's just completely different, like in marriage. It's beautiful though. It's really beautiful.
Point number 4 is always celebrate the small wins. Now this is an important point because I feel like in marriage, it is so easy to compare yourself to other marriages. It is so easy to look at marriages on social media or wherever and think that how your marriage is not good. And that is not celebrating where your marriage is at. understanding that each marriage is different, understanding the fact that you even have a marriage is a blessing, will help you to not think that the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, that's so good, because like even if you do see a couple on social media, which probably won't be the case, but let's say you see a couple on social media and everything they actually put is legit, and like they have the most perfect marriage, perfect individual, perfect children, it was a process to get there.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? They had to, like, just logically speaking, they had to go through challenges to even get to that point.
Yeah.
Right? So there's literally no point to look at someone else in any way except to be like, I guess for an inspiration, I guess you can look, but not to covet what they have. Because like, that's the thing about celebrating the small ones, because like at least you have a spouse.
Yeah.
But there are people who like their spouse died.
Yeah.
God forbid that happens to you, to someone here, right? There's some people like they want a spouse, but it's been 50 years.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a spouse.
Or there's some people like the first year of marriage, it just like everything just crumbled.
Yeah.
But you were able to make it to 5 years, 10 years,
exactly.
20 years, even 2 years. The fact that you're even able to make it to 2 years is a small win to celebrate.
Yeah,
right?
It's a small win. Like every day you can always like be thankful to God, and every night before you go to sleep, like really tell your spouse like, I'm thankful for you. Or every morning be like, I'm actually happy to wake up with you. Who knows what could have happened, but I'm with you. It's been 2 years, 2 months. Listen, even the fact that you can celebrate, you know, the fact that you have a spouse beside you is something that we should mention every single day to your spouse, to really have that sense of gratitude towards the fact that they're actually there. And like Naomi just said, like you just said, that like God is building upon your marriage, right?
Yeah.
You can't look at your marriage today. It's like a baby looking at himself today and being mad because he can only crawl.
Yeah.
Not knowing that there's a process for your muscles to build so you can walk and then run and then go to school and then get a job. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So basically, don't compare yourself to other marriages, because your 1 year cannot look like their 10 year. There's a process to it, and it will take time. And we learned that a lot.
Yeah. No, we learned that. I mean, you had to, and I think most people will learn that, because like you have romanticized vision of what a marriage is, and you will always compare yourself to someone's best, which is the worst thing to do. Like, you always compare yourself to like when someone is putting like their highlights and you're thinking about, oh, my lowlights suck, you know. But like, just don't compare yourself. You don't get anything from that.
Exactly.
So, point number 5 is being determined to work things out. Listen, there's 1,000 reasons why you can end your marriage, but there's always one primary reason why you shouldn't, which is that not even love, but that you made a covenant before God, and he brought you to your spouse before you ever knew each other. He had already planned it. He had already written it. He had already made all the, you know, parts fit together for you to meet the spouse out of 8 billion people for a reason. And I think being able to work things out comes from always being selfless. Understanding like you're focused on the vision, not on the moment. And I think that whenever, should I run that back again? Oh my goodness, I'm just about to rap on this thing. Okay, cool. Take 2 is that we have to focus on was it focus on the vision? Focus on the vision.
You forgot it.
Okay, yeah, focus on the vision. Oh, yeah. Take 2. So focus on the vision, not the moment. If you ever like, if anyone is building anything at all, and you only focus on what you have in the moment and not the reason why you're building it, you're always gonna want to quit.
That's even for like anything.
Literally, it's so crazy how we don't apply it to marriage, but we apply it to school, for our jobs, for our career, for our business, for our YouTube channel. Like, you're like, oh yeah, I can wait. I'm about to blow up, but you don't want to blow up your marriage into something bigger.
Or every year you have New Year's resolution, but you don't have it for your marriage.
Exactly, you don't have it for your marriage.
That's
and it's
crazy.
Like, you like, we need to be patient, right? Like, your today will not look like 50 years from now. I remember one time I watched one of those videos where it's like, they're interviewing a couple that are like 80 years old, 90 years old, and they've been married for like 7 years. And they're like, what did you learn? Like, what did you learn in 7 years of marriage, 8 years of marriage? And they're like, patience. Like, for you to be able to make it 80 years on this earth, by the way, that's crazy. But with someone else, you know you have patience.
You have to have patience.
You know you have vision. I don't care who you are, but you have vision to be like, listen, no matter what comes our way, we will actually work together. We will seek help. We will be diligent. We will just actually fight through together.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. Like, always fighting through it together, being accountable to other people. And I find like the marriages that don't have accountability, like,
it'll be very hard.
Good luck to you, because child, it is hard. So I think just like having those boundaries set in place in order for you to just build and not just
100%,
fail. Because just like how if you're going to build a vision board or you're going to plan out your life, you want to have boundaries, you want to have set rules, you want to have goals. And I think how it's the same thing applies to your marriage. And the way to do that is to be strong with each other. And
I just want to make a quick step on, because you mentioned like accountability and stuff like that. I think one thing that's really important is like who's speaking into your marriage. Like, a lot of marriages will fail because of the people that are speaking to you. For example, if you're married and everyone that's speaking to you is divorced or is single, it's irrelevant. Whatever they have to say is irrelevant. Not to say that, you know, it doesn't matter, but it actually doesn't, like, we have to have people that are in the trenches with you. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it can be people that have done it but failed. You can still learn from them, but it's
learn,
like, that shouldn't be the primary voice speaking to you. It shouldn't be your friend who's been single, hasn't been married, is telling you, oh, cut off your guy or cut off your girl. Not understand the covenant that you're in. Like, it has to be people that God leads you to, that believe in the word of God, that have wisdom, that have been through it, and that could speak into your marriage. People that are at your level, people that are a bit ahead of you, and people that are way ahead of you. So then you know the different seasons.
So those are the 5 points, but we have a bonus.
I just want to say you look good. I'm looking at the camera right now.
You look good too.
You're looking yummy.
You look yummy too.
Okay, thank you.
But we have a bonus point for you guys, and that bonus point is always check yourself.
Yeah.
Now this one hits me.
That's me too, actually.
It hits you too?
Yeah.
Always check yourself. I feel like sometimes in a marriage, you're so quick to be like, this person's wrong with this and that and this and this. And like, you know, you're always going to blame the person. But if you just evaluate yourself, not be hard on yourself, but just evaluate who you are, how you can change, how you can add to that person, how you could even just evolve yourself, then I think that how that's checking yourself, and that's going to better yourself in the marriage.
Yeah.
Always seeing how you can evolve. One thing that I do is I write down things that I can do better, not just in my marriage, but in my life in general. And I feel like those points actually help me to show up as a better person, a better wife, a better mother, a better pastor, whatever it may be. Like, it helps me when I just evaluate myself and I check myself and I'm real with myself.
Yeah, because like, you're not going to change your spouse, but you will change yourself. Like, your spouse is more likely to change by you changing yourself than by you trying to change her or him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if God himself is not changing your spouse,
or
if they're not changing, even though God is talking to them, then what do you think you can do? It's like, God will prompt you to first, like you just mentioned, evaluate yourself and change. And then that will be testimony onto your spouse and to your husband, to your wife, to really like be convicted. Obviously, if they're a Christian, to be convicted by the Holy Spirit. And then that work is going to begin inside of them. So it's really
and we even have our own goals. Like, you have your own goals on how you want to be a better child of God,
husband, father, child of God.
Exactly. I have my own goals as well too, and I feel like those individual goals help us to show up better as who we need to be on a daily basis.
So with that being said, those were our 5 things that we have learned in 5 years of our marriage. We actually learned a lot more than this, but like, we kind of had to like actually
condense it.
Yeah.
Those are the things we learned. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We hope you listened from it as well too. If there are things that you learned in your marriage, feel free to comment down below and let us know if it wasn't mentioned in this video. We want to know. We want to be inspired as well. But if you like this video, go check out another video from my channel. I posted one just last week. And if you want to see more content with my special guest, my husband, then let us know and we'll make more content like this.
I'm coming regardless, so whether you guys say yes or no, I'm gonna be here, you know.